Hunter up there. So Swap, Zeke, and Eyes, Nate, Hero, Kappa, and Fiesel they formed pretty well. You will be seeing them in the mid tomorrow. However, Flame Prime able to have a positive day in their heat and advance through. So predict steady, and it's going to be exciting once we get in. There is a different style of play, different types of gameplay from all over the regions, but enough from me. I've talked enough. Let's throw it on over to Lupo and Monster as they take match 1.
Sundown, thank you very much. Just a quick note to those at home. Occasionally we run into issues on the cast. Do your best to not get too worked up about it. You know, there's a lot of things at play here. So you have to imagine a 10-minute break is an insanely short amount of time to recover and get back into the games. As you can see here on your screen, Heat 2 Game 1 of the Middle East region just starting off. Tilted Town, a number of teams dropping down the bottom. Down here, pressure in the bottom and the pump shotgun. An early blue pump shotgun in Tilted Down. As you can see, is honestly one of the most powerful weapons you can get. It just hits so hard for and so many up-close fights, too.
Such a clean shot. And that's one of the perks of landing in Tilted Town. You know you're going to get a blue... You know you're leaving a blue pump, you're leaving with shockwaves, you're guaranteed heals. Like, guaranteed minimal.
Exactly.
Not only that, you're probably going to get yourself some launch pads as well. So this is the place to be, especially if you want to guarantee your loadout. And you stick around just to get back to the lobby. Not much you can do there. You catch one pick, maybe you get a point for your leaderboard, basically, but... Even then, his battle to lose.
You have to hope it's like a solo, otherwise you know they're just going to get picked back up almost immediately. It's a tough spot to be in, but yeah, you're saying early game in Tilted has such a refined loot pool. The trade-off of not being able to build, or in some people's mindsets not having to build, because you know that you can just focus on gun skill and accuracy, is such a big factor in building up an early loot. Just the early loot game is it's huge here. Like
it's actually crazy
heals like
too.
Crazy. Yep. Everybody's going to come out stacked with a good set of materials, in fact, just because you can pick up all that stuff out of the chest and off of every elimination. If you do get challenged here, it's arguably one of the better spots to drop right now.
Yeah, I was just going to say, imagine a game where one of these guys bring that double barrel out of Tilted Town, because there are some rules in play where the double barrel shotgun only spawns in Tilted, but you can even take the weapons out of the place as well. And
third time's a charm. There we go.
I was going to say, he's having a little bit of a struggle there, trying to get up and over.
He's got to track down that space bar. It runs away sometimes. Unless they're playing on controller, I guess. My apologies. Controller gang, love you.
If anything, Controller Gang has the best movement we've seen so far. These guys can go 360 on the...
Clearly, you don't watch my stream, Monster. I appreciate it, though. Yeah.
But all right, now we're looking at Happy Hamlet here. A little bit of a standoff. Moon, Minzu, and Kinji here have that high ground. There's 3 teams here.
The prediction from 4 of the 5 of us, one of the players, Klops, going down on the feet up top there. You hate to see that.
And if I had to guess, I actually did a Middle Eastern VOD review. They land towards Junk Junction, so they must have had some kind of problems over at Haunted Hills, but we'll talk about that in just a bit here as Kenji uses a valuable shockwave to try and take the high ground here, and he is going to get chipped just a little bit. And such a nice pinch going on right here. And this is one of our newer competitive regions, so you know, a little bit of catch-up, right, to catch up to the rest of the competitive scene, per se.
I wouldn't even say that, honestly, because some of these players are so good, Monster. I mean, we've even watched each other grow very quickly playing the game just from watching these competitive experiences. You have opportunities like this. Look at that. Kinji immediately flicks up, gets the knockdown info, who's trying to shockwave from, over the top. But you have to understand, these players in the Middle East region have been asking for their own region for quite a long time, so you know they've been watching the competitive experience between all these other regions. That kind of learning has to have happened big time.
That was a filthy little ramp edit right there to catch AZ2M. And yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on, is that they were held back for so long because of the ping differences, right?
Yep.
But now having their own region, a lot of it has, you know, a lot of these players have found a little bit of remedy in that factor as well. So good for them. We see new faces come up and have their moment. Pretty much catch a little highlight here today.
Kinji picking up the revive right there on Minzu. Knocked from the middle of that fight. A valiant trade, though. Honestly, if your team only suffers a single knockdown, you pick up those 3 eliminations, I'd say that's 100% worth it. Those bubble shields in rotation out. Team lucky landing.
He was actually hit with a little headshot right there, ripped apart all of his shield. Now forced only down to bandages, and this is a battle that they have to take on their heels here. And I like what they're doing. They're backing up as a squad, trying to use this time to also gather some mats in the process. This team is not letting up. You have the NL squad right here, Nella, Easy, and Saya Zine right here. Or Saya's Ren, excuse me. And they're coming in with a push. They're still fully shielded up for the most part.
Now we got the ultimate high ground right now. Gonna have to fight out one player all the way to the top. Shots coming from the third party right there. Looks like a teammate trying to knock down that build as they're pushing up. Sai, ultimate high ground, looking down from above. Little explode from underneath. Gonna have to build against that. Waiting for the peak shot. Look at the timing on that. Very last second before getting to the pyramid. Gets a ton of big shots. Look at the last one. There it is. Finds the knock on Izzy. They have the advantage at this point. Picks up that elimination up to 125 total HP. Nella gets knocked. Wild Gamer picking up that elimination. And an RPG in there is going to be huge. Tack shotgun shots back-to-back. Finds the third one. And that is a solid 3 eliminations for Sai. Wild Gamer making it up for the loss of silence down there in the bottom left corner.
Fighting on the heels right there, and they turn that battle around. Very well done. Not Sai, I've actually had the pleasure with, I'm pretty sure, talking as I've, browsed around the Middle Eastern region. So good to see him pulling up and performing here as they now are pretty much clear, and they have the zone. They're in the clear. They have the zone. They can get this revive off. So Silence is going to be able to come back in the game as he gets hit up on the reboot van.
Huge value. That being said, the inventory of Sai has 2 green tactical shotguns in there, some bandages, an AR, and that TAC SMG. Lucky landing, looking like it is calm at this point. A lot of builds, but no competition left down here as this trio is going to be able to pick back up, potentially finish looting up down here, farm any materials they can get out of it. They're in the safe zone. Circle still has 38 seconds before it closes, so they're not feeling too much pressure in any way right now. We'll have to see where the next circle goes. This is a good opportunity for them to build up a good buffer, materials, healing, any leftover loot that might be down here, and make their way on in the next safe zone without much issue. Meanwhile, Suber, Sammy, and Dream pushing from outside of the storm.
Yep.
The far east drop here in the desert.
Such a weird place to play as well. The moisty palms where you can't just crouch freely. You have to be very cautious. A lot of the competitive players opting to unbind the crouch just in case. You don't want to make any mistakes there. And honestly, if you do that, you're kind of in the advantage, right? You set yourself up for success, so you don't make any mistakes in PvP. I know myself, I tend to crouch in fights all the time. You don't really realize it till it happens, but
it's a tough break when it does happen, I'll say. Looks like an attempted shockwave to avoid a fight there, but Super does get the pick there. A knockdown is rotating into the storm. Trying to get to safe.
That's going to be a nice little knock there. He's going to replenish his health up. There is a player outside of the storm line. It's going to be his teammate, Will, who's waiting nearby. And you can see over at the other kind of crater there to the left where you can farm up all the stone. That's probably where the rest of that guy's duo is. Most likely, trio, I should say here. But someone does see the rotation. They're pushing on in. We have a trio coming in.
I say now's the time. You have people just coming in from the storm. You think you're in the better position. Pushing is basically a no-brainer. You see here, gonna have to fight to stay in.
You heard the shots outside the storm wave. You figured you might as well push out. These guys are gonna come out with a little bit of health tick. Anything to have that advantage there.
Drop him back.
All right, Sammy, Will, and Super here says, you know what? This is not the battle we want to take. The third party, it actually isn't a third party. They're just pressuring with explodes here. So they want to back up. They want to reset a little bit here.
I don't blame them. You basically started that fight not as a full trio. Sammy was still outside in the storm, and so rotating back away and saying, nah, this is not the fight to take. We're not exactly in the best spot. Plus, if you think about it, they did force that team, the team that applied pressure from inside the safe zone, to burn through some traps. There's some zap traps in the wall, so you've gotten rid of those, cleared those out of the inventory, which is great for later in the game. Ultimately, kind of a win-win. Set of eliminations here.
This is a nice little look right here. You can see those teams that are on the west and north side of the map forced to fight their way down now. Quite a rotation here as the zone seems to be pushing all the way south. So the later you move, the more congested this rotation will be, the harder it will be for you later in the games. You really want to get down there early, especially when a zone favors one side pretty heavily. see competitive players try to rotate nice and early.
I'm looking for Nazir to hit a snipe shot here. He keeps pulling that heavy sniper out and taking a look. Hasn't gone for it yet. I would say position-wise, not the best call. You are further outside towards the edge of what is currently safe, so people are probably going to look back and try and stormhold you. But could you imagine Nazir hitting just a crazy snipe right there on the rotation in? They suddenly have advantage of trio versus only 2 left up. They could push through, pick up 3 elims, all the materials, and make their way in the safe zone.
And this is actually very interesting right here. FHD actually opened this battle up with a heavy snipe. They catch the knock, but they don't even collapse to kind of seal the deal. They say, you know what, instead, we're going to focus more on the zone here. They're going to get ahead, so they use that little bit of distraction, downtime, and chaos to get ahead of the zone here. It's probably still going to convert if they can get to the zone first and then turn the battle back around.
Depends on how fast the storm is moving on this edge. They are closer to the short side, so it's moving slower. But yeah, you have a chance maybe for a pickup there, but I think, like you're saying, in that moment they say, yeah, we got the knock, we could push for it, but placement at this point probably more important. You're looking at 26 trios remaining. You don't get the placement points until top 15, and even then, it's only 3. So right now, pushing into the storm, getting to safe, very, very important. You want to try and make it to that top 15 as early as possible. You know, get to a safe spot so you can sit and wait.
You saw a little bit of a storm surge warning there as we're approaching zone 3. You have to be cautious when there's over 70 players to the zone 3 ratio. Storm surge will start to tick. So there's only 1 trio probably affected right now. This trio here is completely safe, 105 damage above. But anything can happen. They can get pushed by the wrong ones. The other team can jump into a fight. So
at this point, only 1 player needs to go down too, and we might actually find it. There it is. What a snipe. FHD looking back to the east over there, a quick little flick, a 157 body shot. They're going to try and apply pressure. The teammate up top trying to secure, maybe get a chance for revive. Stinks.
They actually used a lot of resource just to try and keep that player safe right there. He chucked back the zap trap and the stink, so using all, if not most, of their throwables right there just to hold the power squad down here in the factory area. And this is the second time now they've caught a knock, and they haven't quite, sieged the moment. Very patient. Will it bite them in the butt later on, though?
Honestly, I think that's the smartest play, because you see right now, all 3 of those players up on the hill are stacked up next to each other, and they may have seen, because you had people that were rotating in, I believe that's southeast of the little factory area they're in right now. So they get the knock, yeah, but you're down below. Your only option basically is to try and take shots on the structure and get the knockdown player exposed and immediately eliminate. If you don't get that player's crawling back and using the line of sight on the hill. Plus you have other people that they're going to see that and a chance for third party. I would rather see these players do exactly what they're doing right now and sit inside the build, do all the wall replaces, and wait just a minute, because what might happen, and you see on your minimap, that almost is the call there, that trio, the one that they got the knock on, there's a team further outside. They're going to get pressure from the back. They have a chance to sandwich. That might be eliminations that they can pick up later rather than applying pressure and maybe getting third party themselves.
I almost also want to say, though, that's the same team as Dunn got sniped twice by FHD, so he's a magnet for the heavy sniper. Got to be careful, buddy.
Little rivalry building up there.
Tuck the head down. You got to duck. Careful on the peaks here, but NM7. Teams are collapsing everywhere. Minute left.
Oh,
and he catches another one right in the tail. Aziz TV is going to go down, and this time they are not safe. He says it's time to battle. They want to push this through with less than a minute on the rotation here. In comes the stinkers. The heavy snipe cracks open the wall, and there is a team nearby. They can hear the shots. They're looking over if you look at your map, but they're going for safety instead. It's a long rotation.
Around. You see those 2 trios in the southeast side. They're rotating around, trying to get in the safe zone. Meanwhile, these two teams that have literally fought each other time and time again now are finally applying pressure. NM7 with a build-up, trying to get the high ground. Not going to be able to do it just yet. Going to wait just a moment. Doesn't want to get pushed too far in on that trio without his teammates at his back. 1 elimination currently, but if the pressure is good and gets a better position, might be able to convert that into another 3. We'll see here in a second. Shots from inside the safe zone. They're just at the edge. And there are so many teams so close together. 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe 5 trios within probably 50 meters of each other right there.
And Aziz and his trio is actually really lucky. Aziz was traded out, but that duo, what was left of the trio, managed to squeak away here. Heavy snipe returns. He hits another one. FHD is on fire right now with the shot. So You can see here, this team is scary with a double heavy sniper. They're loaded up right now. Here comes the focus fire.
A trio focus fire is big, but FHD pays the price. Another team up behind. This is what I was saying. 5 trios in one, like basically 150-meter circle is so tough because as soon as you start spraying on one, everyone's going to look at you and say, you're exposed right now and you're not looking at me. It might be the time to take a shot. Imagine if instead of AR spray, that was a heavy snipe. That could have been an immediate knock, and then suddenly the tables are turned on this team for power.
That's right, but it's okay. Power has plenty of heals to spare here. You saw he did manage to pop 2 big pots right there, so the squad kind of hooking him up. They still have 6 chug splashes. They have, slurps for the road. They're very, very set up right now.
With how close together they are to other teams, I'm surprised they're not using... They have 11 chug splashes. Use even just one of those just to top off one player and get your last one to only 5 HP missing, because if you're in a bad spot and you start getting beamed, you're going to want every single HP that you can get. Oh, the double snipe, double heavy. Here we go. Looking for it. Finds the first one. Beams, and not side goes down. Straight into the launch pad to rotate into the circle. This trio's playing very, very well.
Notsai should have known better than to sit still in a 1-by-1. That is one of the risks you take, especially in trios. There's way too many eyes focused on the field here. There's no way you can sit still in a box. That's the price you pay right there. FHD, Yonks, and NM7 doing a fantastic job right now holding the server down. Really, they're dictating the pace right here with all pressure, all fire coming in. This is the most active trio we've seen so far in the server.
The east side of the map basically belongs to them thus far. There is that team. You saw them look up above on top of the hill looking down. You got to be very careful on the angles. Would not be surprised if there's a